Today on Real Life and Real Estate, Deep Thoughts by Mark Peebles. Well, welcome to Real Life and Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. Today I have some deep thoughts for you. Not really deep thoughts, actually a bunch of random thoughts that I'm going to share with you. Last week I was at the Ohio Realtor Convention, and I want to talk about some of my big takeaways, some of the big thoughts that I walked away with, and just share from my notes with you, because I think there's a lot of valuable information that I came away with. Now, before I get into that, I want to talk about Advantage Home Warranty. Advantage Home Warranty, my favorite home warranty in the business. You know, I carry an Advantage Home Warranty on my own house, and every year I get my money's worth out of it, and that's because something is always going wrong on a house built in the mid-1990s. But I'll tell you what, I love Advantage Home Warranty. They're quick to respond, excellent service. The techs that they send out, you know, they own their own HVAC and plumbing company, and the techs that come out from those companies, they're always amazing. Now, I've had some other things, electricians and such, and honestly, I like all of their contractors. But they're an Ohio company, so if you're in Ohio and you need a home warranty or you want to refer home warranties to your clients, Advantage Home Warranty, that's AdvantageHW.com. AdvantageHW.com is where you learn about Advantage Home Warranty. Okay, so now, let's get into some of my key takeaways from the Ohio Realtor Convention. I was at the convention last week. Now, a lot of you are outside of the state of Ohio, but they bring in great speakers from around the country. And so I just want to talk about some of the things that I walked away with in my notes that I think could be valuable for you today. Now, I've got this in no particular order. It's a lot of random stuff. I mean, we're coming out of the big NAR settlement. So I got a lot of information on that, but it's really more a lot of stuff around mindset. And so let's get into it. Again, I'm going to just be running through the list and talking a little bit, giving you some of my thoughts on the takeaways. So call it Deep Thoughts by Mark Peebles or Random Thoughts by Mark Peebles. So here's one that I really liked. Get surgical with communication. So what we say as agents matters, and how we say it matters. Now, one of the suggestions that this speaker recommended, I really loved. He said, record yourself giving your entire listing presentation or your entire buyer presentation, then put that, transcribe it, put it into ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to make your presentation better. I thought, man, that's kind of brilliant. Now, 3 years ago, you would have been like, how do we do that? Because we didn't have access to AI. Use AI to your advantage and do that by recording yourself, transcribing it, and finding better words to use to describe things, to help sellers and buyers understand things, and ultimately improve your presentation and your overall communication. So get surgical with communication. One of the speakers said, and I totally agree, most realtors right now are in survival mode, not winning mode. You know, if you look at a football team, all right, football season has begun. And if you look at football teams that are in survival mode, they go in, they get down by a large margin, and then they get into survival mode. We just want to survive and get out of the game, right? And that's how I see a lot of realtors right now. It feels like you're down for the count. Your business is down for the year. You are struggling in your business, and you're just like, I just need to survive. If I can just get one deal here, one deal there, like I'm going to survive until it gets better. Stop with that thinking. You need to go from survival mode to winning mode. What is winning mode? It is no matter how it looks, I'm going to win. How do you win? Raise your professionalism. We've talked a lot about this. Study your craft, right? Like get better with your presentations. That goes back to the first one, getting surgical with your communication. Here's another thing that you can be doing right now, talking to people. You know, there's so much news that has hit in the mainstream media about the real estate industry, and consumers want to know what you think about it. So talk to people right now. That's how you go from survival mode to winning mode. I'm going to win. Therefore, I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to be more of a professional. I'm going to get better at my craft. This is how we ultimately win. Okay. So stop being in survival mode. Go to winning mode. All right. What's most important to you? One of the speakers was saying that every time you sit down to give a listing or a buyer presentation, you need to start out with, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Yes. Okay. Tell me what is most important to you that we discuss here today. What is most important to you when it comes to selecting a real estate agent? What is most important to you when it comes to the information that I can provide you with today? Basically, you're asking up front what's most important so that you don't address a bunch of stuff that they don't care about. All right? I like that one. So ask every buyer and seller what's most important to you as you are starting into your presentation. When you're speaking to someone, always speak to the conversation in their head and cover it before they even say it. I love this one because so many times people come in to a buyer presentation, or you go to their house for a listing presentation. They've got things going on in their head that they want to know, like a commonly asked question or whatever the case is, and they want you to speak to that before they bring it up, right? Now, I just told you to ask what's important to you, but they may not bring it up. Here's what the story that I loved, and the speaker talked about going up to a Tesla, and there was a dog that someone had left in the Tesla in 90-degree weather. Who leaves their dog in the car in 90-degree weather?
Teslas have been doing things. They've been locking when people get out of their cars, and their kids and their dogs have been left in the cars. This happened multiple times.
Well, so the funny thing is, my wife, she drove a Tesla, and now she drives a Jeep, and her biggest frustration is that when she walks away from the Jeep, she actually has to lock it because it doesn't automatically lock.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, so here's speaking to the conversation that's in your head. You see a dog in a Tesla on a 90-degree day, and when you go up to the window to take pictures, get a picture of the plate, there's actually a big bright screen on inside of the Tesla that says, "Not to worry, my owner will be back soon. This car is in dog mode, and I'm at a cool 72 degrees." It's like,
no way.
Yeah, because that's a conversation.
Awesome.
That's a conversation in your head when you see a dog in the car.
Freak out.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, that dog's gonna die, or that kid. I mean, that would be horrific. Don't even want to go there. But the thing is Tesla pre-thought that out. They speak to the conversation in someone's head. So I really love that.
That's how you find the way that you just do business in general is you find problems to solve, right?
Yep.
And so this is the same thing in this scenario. Okay, I'm going to come into this presentation. This person already has these questions. I'm going to solve them before they even get here.
They're going to see it as a problem. And even if you've asked the question, what's most important to you? If you came prepared to talk about that, you have visual aids to talk about it, which is one of the things in our making a compelling buyer presentation class. We actually provide you with the visual aids that you can use. And so you came prepared with visual aids that you can talk to that conversation going on in their head.
That kind of speaks to, we were in a training, it was last week, and one of our partners at Destination Mortgage, Dante, he spoke about selling to different DISC assessment people.
Yes.
Okay, so people with different personality types. And he starts going through this list, and I was like, my mind was like blown because I'm thinking about the scenarios so Joey and I were talking about buying a house. We really wanted to buy a house, but it's just not going to work for us right now. And we have a great property. So we're just going to take advantage of where we're at. But when he was talking to our loan officer and when I was talking to our loan officer was totally different scenarios. And he's I just want to talk and I want to engage. I want a conversation because I'm like this IAS or whatever.
Yep.
And Joey's just like, I want facts. I want to know what's going on. I want to know how it's
happening. Got some C maybe?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, right.
Whatever
I don't know what all the disc is.
It doesn't matter what he is. Only matters what I am. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. That's terrible.
No,
can't believe you just said, we're recording
did.
this, right?
did.
And he's probably going to listen. Okay.
I'll tell him not to listen to this episode. But
so
it's kind of cool. It's the same thing where you come into the presentation already thinking, okay, I know who I'm talking to.
Yep.
Or if you don't know them, which a lot of time I know different listing or buyer presentations are, then you can come in with some options. These
Right.
are the two scenarios. I could go down this path with someone who's a little bit more relational.
Yep.
I go down this path with someone who's a little bit more analytical. And then also the same thing when you're asking them, what are you looking for in this conversation? Boom. I've got my two sides right here.
Right. And sometimes, like, it's funny because I've been in this business a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have spouses that you're sitting at the table with, both of them looking you in the eye, and you got to talk to two different people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they're two different people, but they're
No,
also one
two
person,
totally
but then you have to, two different
brains.
mindsets, two different brains. Yeah. So talking to that conversation, and I like what you're saying, like, it's not just talking to the conversation going on in their head, it's talking to the personality of the individual that you're talking to. So, okay, so let me keep going through these. Tell your clients what you are responsible for and what you're not responsible for. I tend to be a people pleaser, okay? And that is not always a good thing, because someone asks me to do something that is like, I don't have time to do. I'm going to be slow to do it. I'm going to waste a bunch of time doing it. And really, they're probably not interested in the property anyway. I probably should have directed them where to go. And if up front I say to them, hey, listen, I know you're looking for a piece of land that you want to split into, 78 parcels. If you want to do that, what I'll do is I'll put you in contact with the county or the township or the city so that you can have that conversation with them in advance. Now, there's certain clients that I am going to do those things for, like on a commercial deal, larger deals that we're working through that require me to hold hands a little bit more, be more present on site for everything. I'm going to do that, but I think certain people, you have to set the expectation up front, because I've had clients before, they will send me 25 properties, and they have a ton of questions that they want answered on every one before we even walk into it. And so realistically, this is part of doing your job up front and explaining to them how the process works, but explaining to them, hey, these are the things that I do, and these are the things that I'm not responsible for as your agents. I have all the time. I've got clients that will ask me, can you tell me what my closing costs would be? I never, ever tell someone what their closing costs are going to be. I always defer to the lender, because every lender's different. You don't know what situation that lender has worked out, whether they're buying points to get their rate down so their payment's where it needs to be, or they are, they're going to have a higher rate and they're going to have less closing costs because of that higher rate. Whatever the case is, I don't want to guess at it. I always send them to their lender. And that's one of the things that I just say, I'm not responsible for that. That's not something I'll do for you, but I'll always make sure that I point you in the right direction for those scenarios. Another one I liked, process is more important than outcome. How you make people feel along the way is important, okay? So sometimes you don't always get the outcome you want, but if every step of the process, you're there, you're answering the right questions, you're staying a step ahead of them, you're communicating well, you're providing an amazing experience for the client, then even if it doesn't come out in the end the way they want it, they're still going to remember the process. One of the things that we like to say is that process eliminates objections. That's why when we teach you how to make a compelling buyer presentation, we teach you process. We teach you a framework that keeps you on track in your presentation. On the other side of it, we teach you a process to share with your buyers, to walk them through the home buying process, right? Because process eliminates objections, and it's also more important ultimately than the outcome. There's more opportunity in the process of all of this to create and to show your clients value than it is necessarily in just the outcome. So focus on getting great in the process. One guy said, I really like this, that attitude is most important. Your attitude right now is most important. And he said, think of it as, ace your attitude, all right? ACE stands for attitude controls everything. The thing is, you can actually reverse this and say everything controls attitude. So it's really about who's in control. Are you in control? Do you have the right attitude so that you can control everything? Or are you going to let everything that happens to you control your attitude? That's one of those things where it's like some days it's just like, Lord, I can't control this. I'm just giving it to you, right? And we've all had clients that make us say that. We've all had experiences that make us say that. But are we being controlled by the things happening to us? Our attitude being controlled by the things happening to us? Or are we letting our attitude control how we respond to things that are happening? So that was one that I really liked. It's not hard to get an agreement when you are a professional. So, I guess he actually said it's hard to get an agreement when you're not a professional, right? So you can say it either way. When it comes to having a client sign a buyer agency agreement or a listing agreement or any agreement with you, it's going to be hard to get that agreement signed if you're not a professional. I've been really pounding this into the agents that I work with and coach, to our company. I've been saying, listen, this is the time to increase your professionalism. If you want to be able to get an agreement signed, be a professional. It's all about your professionalism right now. I go to a top CPA firm, all right? When I went in and I met with this top CPA firm, they basically walked me through everything they were going to do, and they said, this is how much it's going to cost for our services. And I was blown away by the team approach that they had and how they were going to take care of my needs, how they were going to advise me. I mean, just giving me all kinds of information in that first meeting. And it was all because they were professional. And when it came to talking about money, they had no fear in talking about money. I've had several attorneys recently, not for anything bad. We're just redoing a lot of paperwork in the company and, adding some things, adding some programs in. And in the programs we're adding in, it requires paperwork. Well, every attorney that we've talked to, because everyone specializes in something different, they say, okay, this is what I can do for you. This is, about how long I think it's going to take, and this is what I charge to do it. They have no hesitation in it. And then they send me an engagement letter, right? Because they're professionals, and I trust them as professionals. For all too long, realtors have not been professional. It is time to raise your level of professionalism. Stop being afraid to talk about the services you offer, the value that you're going to bring, and asking people to sign agreements, talking about your compensation, and then asking them to sign an agreement. You are a professional. You've got to have that mindset. Two things that I thought I really need to make this statement. If you are a real estate agent, you should never say to a seller, no one is going to show your property if you don't offer commission. Never say that to a seller, okay? Because we just came through this whole thing. Our compensation is all 100% negotiable, all right? So if you tell a seller no one's going to sell your property, you're saying no one's going to negotiate. This is not negotiable, so, no one's going to show it. Stop saying that stuff, okay? This is one of the reasons that we got in trouble in the first place. Also, don't coach your buyer clients not to look at homes that are not offering compensation. This is anti-competition. This falls under antitrust. It's another one of the reasons we got in trouble. So don't say to your clients, hey, listen, if they are not offering compensation, you shouldn't look at the home. You've got to leave that up to the client. And let me give the unpopular opinion. If you are worried about calling every agent and checking to make sure that they are offering compensation, stop it. Like, there's no reason to be calling every agent for this. Like, we are negotiators. You negotiate for your fee. So when you submit that, submit it with your offer and let's negotiate. If you call me as an agent and you say, hey, my clients are really interested, but they want the hot tub to stay with the property. It's automatically in our contract. It may or may not be automatically in your contract, but I'm using it as an example. They want the hot tub to stay with the property. What am I going to say? I'm going to say, put it in the offer and we'll negotiate it, right? Same with your compensation. Put what you are asking for on behalf of the buyer into the offer and let's negotiate it. But stop calling, and definitely don't tell your clients that they shouldn't look at houses that are not offering compensation. Don't tell your sellers that no one's going to show your property if you don't offer compensation. Okay, I said my piece. Did I say my piece?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I'm sorry. Was I a little forceful there?
No,
or a little,
it's real.
That was a little heavy-handed there, Mark. But okay. Let's see here. A couple other things I want to hit. The big deal rule. I really like this one. So if you make it a big deal, they'll make it a big deal. If you don't, they won't. I can't tell you how many times in my career that we're negotiating something out and, the other agent is just flipping out to me, or the other agent comes back with something that I know my clients aren't going to like. Now, I can call my clients and be like, oh my goodness, you're never going to believe what they just did or what they just said, right?
That really sounds like you too.
It really does. It's totally how I am.
Sounds like your person.
I don't know. After my heavy-handed, commission conversation, maybe they're like, yeah, maybe it really is that way. But listen, if I call a client and I say, hey, you're never going to believe this. This is terrible. I've just made a big deal of something.
Yeah.
Or we are professionals. When my attorney has to deliver bad news to me, right? And I'm not saying, I really haven't had an attorney deliver bad news, but he just says, hey, I just want to let you know that this isn't going to work out in this way, right? And that's kind of how we have to deliver it. We can't be all emotional about things. My dad, young in my career, I was freaking out. I think I had a client getting screwed over something, which, to tell you the truth, nothing makes my heart rate go up more than when I feel like there's an injustice being done to one of my clients. It rubs me the wrong way. And so I went to my dad. I was like, Dad, can't believe they're doing this, And my dad said, first of all, son, you're getting emotional about it. People have hired you to not be emotional about this. You need to detach from the emotion, okay? It's okay to feel for your clients and empathize with them, but you cannot be emotional about it because you're just going to get your clients emotional about it, and they're not going to be able to make a good decision. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. So I've carried that with me. So if you make a big deal out of it, if you get emotional about it, if you freak out about it, your clients are going to freak out about it. So stop making a big deal out of things that don't need to be a big deal. All right? That was one that I really liked. It's kind of a way that I've really done business. Last thing that I want to talk about that, is out there and has been marketed, but I want to make sure you've heard about it. This is not sponsorship. Honestly, it sounds like that we've been paid to say this, but we haven't. But the National Association of Realtors is offering to all of the members an accredited buyer representation class for free, and they're doing this for the rest of the year. Now, I had heard this, and I've talked to our agents about it in our company, but I don't know who has actually taken advantage of it. I really feel like they're offering this for free. It's a $300 course. If you want to be more professional, which honestly, I think I've hit a couple of times today. If you want to up your game, you want to be better at your craft, then you absolutely need to take the accredited buyer representation course. I have not taken it yet, but guess what? I am signing up to take the course, to work through it, to get the accreditation. It's free. It's going to help me up my game. It's going to help me help other agents like you that are out there that are watching and listening to this. And it's going to help me be better with my buyers and even with my sellers. There's a lot of great material in this class. One of the main writers of the class was a presenter at the Ohio Realtors Convention. She's phenomenal. The way that she thinks, she says stuff and I have to really chew on it, and it kind of blows my mind. Like, why didn't I think of that? And so I think you'll get a ton of great material. It is free. Now, I think there's a simple domain to go out to go out and find it. However, just Google accredited buyer representation class free, and you'll find it. It's like the first thing that comes up from the National Association of Realtors. So accredited buyer representation class, and it's free. I encourage every real estate agent to do it. Okay. So those are some of my thoughts. Those are some of my big takeaways. I've got pages and pages of notes.
You
I think
had a ton of stuff.
well, I think the very first day,
It's
no
like,
joke.
you should do a podcast on every one of these.
I know,
Like,
I really
Ray,
could.
You could like break this up a little bit.
I really could.
Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah, we should. Thanks for bringing that up now,
Yeah.
Natalie, in front of
I'm
everybody.
sorry.
This is ridiculous, okay?
It was
Gosh,
great.
you make
Hey,
a big
guys,
deal of
Come
everything.
back. I do. I cannot believe this just happened.
That's
No,
totally you.
I think this is great content. Maybe we
Well,
we
here's-
could have a couple episodes expanding on
Here's
this.
the amazing thing is that this is just 2 pages where I kind of copied and pasted in.
Yeah.
The first day, they had some really good speakers there.
Mm-hmm.
The very first day, I took 24 pages of notes. Now I take
Jeez.
all of my
Now,
notes
his notes are not
on my
like your
iPad,
average
right?
page.
So
it's like
I
20
write,
lines.
yeah, I write larger. It's not like I'm writing line by line on a legal pad. I do everything on my iPad, and I get asked this all the time. So if you're out there going, well, how do you take notes on an iPad? I use an app called GoodNotes. This is
also not sponsored.
This is not a sponsorship. No, but I do. I use GoodNotes, and literally my whole life is in my
it is.
iPad.
That's all you're ever doing. And
Right.
then you're like, give me a second.
And
And
then
then
I'm-
you're just like searching for 20 minutes. You're like, found it.
Found it, right. But it's all there. That's
Yeah,
the thing. And
literally
so,
everything.
but I literally did the first day. I took 24 pages of
Wow.
notes in
Yikes.
GoodNotes in my iPad, and I got a ton of amazing material
Mm-hmm.
out of it, and a ton of great content out of it that I will continue to share. You know, there's I don't know, a wise man once said that there's nothing new under the sun. Quote, Jesus. Yeah, so
End quote.
but yeah, so yeah, Jesus did say there's nothing new under the sun. And a lot of this content, you know, if you go back and you listen to like a Zig Ziglar, I was listening to something that Zig Ziglar was in the other day, a man that I tremendously respect, and being able to listen to his content and then go, oh, wait a minute. I've heard like 5 other speakers say those same things. There's really nothing new under the sun, but it gets packaged different. And I love how some of these speakers packaged everything. I was able to take a lot of great information away that here I'm passing on to you today. And I encourage you, I'm one that I don't say everyone needs to be involved in their, local real estate board or at the state or national level. To tell you the truth, with building a company like I have been over the past many years, I have not had time to truly engage as much as I would like to. But to attend these conventions, these conferences that your states put on, that the National Association of Realtors put on, to continually be educating yourself, I do believe is very important. And I will give you one opportunity that we have coming up. If you're in Ohio, on October the 10th, we are teaching in Springboro. We're going to be teaching our Making a Compelling Buyer presentation in light of the NAR settlement. So that is a phenomenal class. It is set up for 3 hours of continuing education. So be sure to come and take that. It's happening in Springboro at the Springboro Performing Arts Center. Is that correct, Natalie?
Yeah, we'll put the link in the bio.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the bio. Natalie's going to put the link in the bio because I'll never get it in there. But Natalie will take care of that. There's also some other opportunities. If you're in South Dakota, I'm going to be teaching that class in South Dakota, Spearfish, South Dakota. I'm also teaching a class called X-Plan, which is a course. It's a life planning course that I have written to help you live your best life, achieve ultimate success. You hear me talk a lot about that. Define your vision, your destination, discover your purpose, and ultimately plan your journey. What needs to be on my calendar today if I'm going to get there? And so that one I'm teaching in Ohio in November. And then when I'm out in South Dakota in October, we'll be teaching that one 2 3-hour sessions on a Tuesday and Thursday. And then the Wednesday in between, we'll be teaching the buyer presentation.
I think it's important to note for the X Plan, it's not just for real estate agents.
It's not.
It's actually for all business
It is.
owners, leaders, just people in leadership in general.
Yep.
It's a great.
Yeah, I
idea.
promise you, regardless
I'm excited about
it. Regardless of where you are in life, you will get value out of taking X-Plan. There's a lot of reflection that happens. I would challenge. My goal is to challenge your thinking on a lot of things, and so I highly recommend taking that. I believe that everyone needs to have a life plan. Everyone needs to know what your destination is. We all have this innate desire to change the world, but I think you need to define what that looks like for you. And then what is my purpose? Like, why was I created? What was I put on this earth to do? We're going to talk about that and help you discover that through X-Plan. So those are some upcoming opportunities. Link in the show notes. If you want to sign up, we would love to have you sign up. But otherwise, thanks for letting me share some of my thoughts today. I will be bringing more of these great thoughts here in the future. For today, though, thank you. And thanks for taking this time. Check out the link in the show notes, and we'll go from there. Bye now.